Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to my cozy corner of the internet. This is Nephilim VA bringing you a new beginning, a new story, a crossover, something recommended to me by a sunflower. Today we begin Blessed with a Hero's Heart, written by Magnus9284 on AO3. Today we branch out into the wonderful world of My Hero Academia mixed with Konosuba, God's blessing on this wonderful world. With that being said, the fanfiction summary is as followed. What if instead of Kazuma, the world of Konosuba gets the #1 cinnamon roll of the hero world? Find out in this experiment of a crossover. Now I implore you to sit back and relax whilst I read to you. Chapter 1. A New Chance. Izuku Midoriya had lived a short life full of disappointment and despair, first by being born quirkless in a world where 80% of the population had a quirk or power, second by being denied of support from his mother when she didn't give hope to his dreams, and the most painful of all, meeting his idol and being shot down like the worthless person everyone deemed him to be. He had to admit that his mother didn't know at the time when he was diagnosed as quirkless what to say, especially when he was a crying mess. Her subsequent gain in weight was the result of the guilt she still carried from that day. And All Might had been honest about his situation, so maybe his suggestion was not wrong about becoming a cop. But it still hurt. What was I thinking? There is no way someone like me could ever be a hero. Izuku muttered to himself as he reached the entrance of an alley where a crowd had formed, and a commotion was taking place. It was a villain attack! He had done it again, even when he said he would give up. He had walked towards a place where heroes would inevitably show up. He had done it so many times that it was second nature, always taking notes to help himself become a good hero. But with what All Might had said to him, he just couldn't understand why he walked here. Until he saw the villain. Wait, is that the same villain that... And he has Karchan! Izuku nearly screamed as he saw the scene, beginning to drown in guilt as he realized that this situation was his fault. If only he hadn't clung to All Might when he leaped with the villain captured in the bottle. If only he hadn't chased after his dream so stubbornly. If only he hadn't been born. Time seemed to stop for Izuku as he caught a glimpse of Bakugo's face, how he seemed desperate, as if asking to be saved, eyes pleading for help. Before he could come up with a plan or an excuse to leave, his heart had begun to work overtime. His legs moved him forward, first with 2 shy steps and then a full sprint. For Izuku, it wasn't a matter of being able to do something or not. It was all about saving someone in need, not for glory, but because it was the right thing to do. Leave him alone! Izuku shouted as he threw his backpack at the villain, managing to hit his eye with some of its contents. The villain wailed as the pain was too much to bear, loosening his grip on the explosive boy, and giving room for Izuku to try and grab his old friend and tormentor. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Bakugo screamed in outrage at being assisted by none other than the one he called useless. I'm sorry, but you looked as if you were asking for help, Izuku meekly replied as he kept pulling at the blonde troublemaker, even as the villain regained control of himself and began to wrap itself around Bakugo again. Detroit Smash! All Might's voice resounded with the power of 1,000 heroes, and was quickly followed by a blast of compressed air that dispersed the villain like it was nothing. Unfortunately, this attack had the effect of sending Izuku flying. The last thing he saw before blacking out was the image of fast approaching pipes in a trash can. Izuku blinked a few times, wondering how he had ended up in this dark room. He was still wearing his school uniform, although now he had his backpack and no trace of the nauseating sludge was on his body. In fact, he felt as if he had been recently cleaned. He also noticed that he was sitting in what appeared to be a wooden chair, and the only visible object was a fancy chair in front of him, although it could also be called a modest throne. Where am I? What happened? Izuku asked to no one as he tried to look beyond the darkness of the room, but he couldn't see anything else. The sudden sound of footsteps caught his attention, and a moment later, another figure appeared in the room.
Izuku Midoriya, welcome to the afterlife.
The voice belonged to a girl with light blue hair, long to the waist, and adorned with what appeared to be a long hoop of hair on top, which matched her eyes perfectly. Her body was lean, but enriched with very feminine curves, and her blue blouse and miniskirt adorned with yellow trim only enhanced how beautiful she was. Izuku would have preferred it if her skirt wasn't that high, though.
Unfortunately, you passed away just moments ago,
the girl continued as she reached her chair, taking a seat and crossing her legs, right in front of a now flustered Izuku. While he hadn't seen anything, he still wished that the opportunity hadn't presented itself like that.
Your life was a short one, but in fact, you're dead,
the girl continued, with a voice that sounded as if she was mourning him, a solemn voice reserved for a temple. Izuku didn't need to ask for proof. His mind had been going over the last few seconds he remembered, and there was no way to have survived that. Now he only had to make sure of one thing. Just one question. Is Kachan safe? Izuku asked with fear in his voice, afraid to hear that his tormentor and former friend had shared his fate.
Kachan? Ah, you mean Katsuki Bakugo. He is alive,
the girl answered, lifting a great weight from the green-haired boy. Thank goodness, Izuku said while grasping his chest, showing tears and a relieved smile, making the girl before him roll her eyes. Not that he noticed.
Although he would have been if you hadn't intervened,
the girl added as she seemed to take a peek at a book beside her, as if the information was written there. I know, Izuku replied absent-mindedly, earning a few blinks of surprise from the girl, who admittedly had expected some outrage from this boy. There were a lot of heroes around, and one of them would have eventually helped him, or knowing Kachan, he would have found an opportunity to escape by himself. I know I wasn't needed, but I couldn't help myself, and his eyes looked as if he was asking for help, Izuku explained while looking at his fidgeting hands. The girl looked annoyed at his behaviour, as if being denied the chance of having fun at his expense. I guess my only regret is that my mum is going to cry a lot, but at least she won't have to keep worrying for me, Izuku continued, failing to see how the girl was now glaring at him.
Shut up already!
The girl shouted as she couldn't tolerate him anymore. Izuku reeled back at the sudden outburst, not understanding the reason why.
Ahem. My name is Aqua, and I'm a goddess who guides humans who die young into the afterlife.
The goddess Aqua returned to her solemn voice, as if her outburst never happened, gaining the young man's attention.
You are presented with two choices, Izuku Midoriya. You can start from square one with a new life, or you can go to heaven and carry on like an old man,
Aqua explained to the attentive Izuku, who quickly began to weigh his options. I see. Going to heaven and rest surely sounds nice, but being reborn could give me the chance of becoming a hero again. Maybe this time I'll have a quirk and... As Izuku began to mutter, Aqua began to panic. She knew that a soul like this would immediately become an angel if he chose heaven, and being reborn wouldn't gain her anything. She quickly decided to take action to have things go her way.
To tell you the truth, heaven is not the dreamy place you mortals believe it to be.
Aqua quickly took a gossiping tone, breaking the muttering of the boy. "Is it not?" Izuku innocently asked, wondering what kind of place it would be. Maybe heaven needed heroes too.
It is very boring, with no entertainment whatsoever. And you won't have a physical body, meaning you'll never get any sexual action.
Aqua explained, trying to push the buttons of the boy. Had Izuku been a shut-in, she would have mentioned video games and manga, but she knew better than to try that. What? Why would I want to have... Izuku was flustered at the idea, but not enough to deter his suspicions. The idea of being the victim of a prank after his pitiful attempt at saving Bakugo began to enter his mind.
I also have to warn you, there's no guarantee of you being reborn with a useful quirk. Most of the time, souls like you just get a minimal upgrade when reborn. In your case, it might be a lesser quirk, like changing the color of your hair or breathing underwater at best.
Aqua's words struck deep and hard at poor Izuku, leaving him with only poor choices, although the idea of not being quirkless was still worth considering.
Now, there is a third option that not many have, but before telling you what it is, I need to ask. Do you still want to be a hero?
Aqua asked now, and for the first time she saw a pure heart shining with blinding determination. Yes, Izuku answered without falter, showing fierce eyes that could not match the strength of his will. Aqua smirked just slightly, knowing that the bait had been taken, and maybe this time she had the proper soul.
There is another world, where quirks do not exist and magic is as common as a sword, a place that had enjoyed relative peace for many generations. However, a devil king has appeared, endangering the lives of innocents and destroying the hard-earned peace. Those who are strong enough to oppose him have decided to not be reborn there after dying at his hands or the hands of his minions. Thus, the number of souls that could stand against him is in decline, leaving this world as easy prey for the Devil King.
Aqua explained, enthralling Izuku, who already seemed interested at the possibility of helping people.
In order to save this world, the goddesses of both worlds have decided to invite worthy souls to be reincarnated into this world, allowing them to retain both their bodies and memories.
Aqua continued her speech, although this time Izuku had concerns. But what can I do? I'm quirkless. Izuku stated the obvious, thinking that choosing someone with a strong quirk would be the best idea. Then he remembered what she had said earlier, about quirks getting better after being reborn, meaning that strong quirk users would rather remain as a new generation of heroes.
True, and that is why I'll give you a boon of your choosing. It could be anything from an artifact of tremendous power to a talent of unlimited potential. Think about it. You'll finally be able to become the hero you always dreamed about, and the people of this world will get the hero they need. Doesn't this sound like the best deal?
Aqua continued her sales pitch, not failing to notice the hope in the eyes of the potential hero. What about the language barrier? I know a little bit of English, but I don't think that would help me in this new world. Izuku was quick to ask, hoping to not have to choose a multi-language quirk as his boon, although the idea of having a quick learning quirk was enticing, especially with the idea of grasping magic.
Don't worry, with our divine and kind aid, we'll fill your brain with all the knowledge you need to enter this world.
Aqua cheerfully answered while showing him a pamphlet that detailed all the parts about the knowledge and the boon, but when he was about to read a warning label, the goddess took it away from him, covering said label with her hand in the process. I was reading that. Izuku gave a mild complaint, unable to raise his voice against a woman.
Now you only need to choose your boon and you'll be ready to go. Choose now and become the hero you always dreamed to be.
Aqua cheerfully said as she threw up a bunch of sheets of paper, all of them containing detailed descriptions of an artifact or a special talent, akin to a powerful quirk. What are you doing? Izuku nearly screamed as he quickly began to gather the scattered papers. How was he expected to make such a crucial choice while facing such disorder? Aqua returned to her chair and sat with the idea that this wouldn't take long. She had done this enough times to know that those born quirkless had a tendency to select the first thing they saw as remotely powerful, be it an artifact or otherwise. As a result, she didn't pay any attention to the fact that the boy had gathered all the pages she had thrown, as that couldn't prolong his choice by much. Then she saw him carefully reading each page. 15 minutes later. A mace that only the owner can lift. It is made with the heart of a savage storm and enables, Izuku muttered as he read one of the descriptions listing pros and cons at a cracking pace.
Could you please choose quickly? All of that is pretty much the same.
Aqua tried to speed things up, not liking being away from her fancy suite in heaven. I'm sorry, but I need to think this over carefully. It is a life-changing choice after all. Why is this name Crown of Intellect, when it only reduces mana costs for magic? Izuku excused himself and continued his muttering. In response, Aqua decided to summon a large bowl with potato chips, because this seemed to be a long session in the making. 40 minutes later. Turning your entire body into a steel-like material? Sounds like an amazing quirk. Izuku seemed excited about becoming a man of steel, to which Aqua sighed in relief because she was about to finish all the chips, and the boy had kept muttering for far too long. There's no data about the magnetic properties of this material, or the fusion temperature, or... Izuku's muttering returned full force, earning a groan from the goddess, who was at her limit.
I have more people to attend to, you know.
Aqua finally pushed an issue that the boy would have to heed. It was a lie, but she didn't want to spend more time in this place. I'm sorry, Aqua-sama. It wasn't my intention to stop you from doing your job. Izuku was quick to apologize, making that sorry face that was able to melt away any anger.
Just choose already.
Aqua weakly demanded, unable to stay angry against such a pure heart. Of course, I'll find a corner to study all of this while you tend to the others. No need to keep all your precious attention on me, Izuku proposed while starting to stand up, obviously about to wander off to find a place where he could read and mutter while not bothering her. This decision made Aqua snap.
Just pick one!
Aqua finally screamed, unable to keep up with the nerd before her. I can't! There is too much to consider and... Izuku began to panic, not wanting to antagonize the goddess before him. However, he was still unable to go against his instincts, for he felt that making a mistake was far too probable for his liking.
Just ask for the most powerful thing in the bunch!
Aqua continued to push the green-haired boy, cinnamon roll or not. He was too annoying for her. Wouldn't that be you? Izuku asked in worry, not wanting to say something imprecise.
Just do it!
Aqua screamed once more, just wishing for the boy to disappear. I'll take the most powerful thing available! Izuku finally surrendered, unable to face the now angry goddess. As he said those words, the pages in his hands vanished, making the goddess give a sigh of relief.
Now stay in the magic circle and don't move. Whatever you have chosen will either appear in your hands or become part of you.
Aqua spoke again in her solemn voice, but the moment she made a circle appear at Izuku's feet, another circle appeared at hers.
Eh? What is happening?
Aqua asked in alarm, making the boy worry at her words. Is something wrong? Izuku asked, his voice full of concern. An angel suddenly descended from above. Her beautiful visage brought peace to the boy, but dread to the goddess, who looked like she was about to cry. Aqua-sama, we are all moved by your selfless sacrifice, in venturing to volunteer to accompany this pure heart. You have made way for redemption and compensation. The beautiful angel spoke, greatly confusing Izuku.
I wasn't volunteering! He was supposed to get one of the trinkets!
Aqua's words actually surprised Izuku, who didn't know what to believe anymore. Fear not, Aqua-sama. Once you defeat the Devil King, you'll return to us with a higher rank as a reward. As for this pure heart, any wish he has at the end of the journey will be granted without fault. The angel spoke again, gaining Izuku's attention. Does that mean I can return home with whatever skills and artifacts I gain? Izuku's hope consisted of returning to his mother and becoming a hero as he intended, a dream so pure that without noticing it, he was the most luminous being in the room. If that is your desire, so be it. Now go and bring peace and light to this troubled world. The angel confirmed, and the light began to grow in intensity.
No, I don't want to go there!
Aqua kept screaming and banging on the walls of the magic circle, obviously afraid of setting foot in the mortal world. Don't worry, Aqua-sama. With your power and a good plan, we can overcome anything, and I'll work really hard to return home and bring you back. Izuku's words were pure and courageous, but to Aqua they were empty, for no one had managed to come even close to accomplishing the task. Within seconds, the boy and the goddess were enveloped in light, and then transported to the other world, a world where they would have to learn what it meant to be a hero, the power of friendship, and the meaning of being human. As the light faded, the angel looked at the empty chairs and gave a longing sigh. Oh, please, Radiant One, teach divinity to that failure of a goddess. The angel softly prayed, wanting the best for who had been her superior only a moment ago, and wishing for the day the boy gained his wings, as she and many others were waiting for him in heaven. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate all the support you've given me. That was one hell of a start, and I can sum it up in one word. Kermuppance. I am so excited to see how this story pans out, and I can't wait to find out. All credits goes to the original creator of this fanfiction, Magnus9284 on AO3. I'd highly appreciate it if you gave this video a like and you subscribe to the channel, and you hit the notification bell to be notified of my next upload. There is no pressure to do so though. Thank you for visiting my cozy corner of the internet. Keep growing my sunflowers. Mwah.